This guide is the combination of the 3-part series I released where I tackled each different part of the Happy Chaos journey, where this will be ordered differently by essential to advanced for each topic rather than lumping all topics for each difficulty together. Treat this giant guide as a library of information and take from it as you need rather than something to absorb in a few sittings. The series is a general roadmap, but I also thought it would be good to have everything accessible in the same place. I hope you enjoy. To keep things a little easier to follow, I'll have a dot in the corner representing the section it was from, with green being essentials, yellow being intermediate, and red being advanced. Let's start with the gun basics. Pressing 5H will pull out the gun and have a reticle pop up in a random location around the opponent, which gradually moves towards them. It's RNG where it appears, and if you're grounded, there's about a 30% chance it would hit if you shoot immediately, but if you're in the air, that goes down to about 9%. If they're in block stun or hit stun, the shots will never miss. This is very important for combos and mix-ups, given conversions from everything as long as you have the resources. To put the gun away, press down, down back, or down forward and H. If you hold H before you press down, you won't be able to put it away until you shoot. Since you can't block while the gun is out, it's important to practice putting it away properly. Treat the gun as something separate to the rest of your kit since you can do most things with the gun out or while putting it away. You can use the gun during normals and specials outside of focus, and can't use it during throw or super. But you can OTG after super if you combo them high enough. Reloading with 22P is very important, especially since it has low total duration and can be cancelled with pretty much any action as soon as the first bullet is reloaded. Think of the concentration bar as having 1000 meter when it's full, with each shot costing 250. If you run out of concentration and it turns red, if you try to use the gun, you'll be put in an animation for about half a second that leaves you vulnerable. If the gauge turns red, it regens at 240 per second, so just over 4 seconds to get it back. With regular 5H shot, it can be kinda hard to see, but the rate of concentration drain just by holding the gun out is higher the further away you are. This becomes more noticeable with steady aim. The big difference with steady aim compared to regular 5H is that once the reticle locks on them, it won't unlock even if they move around. Steady aim does also lock on much faster after startup, though it does have much longer startup overall. But shooting as fast as possible makes it very likely to whiff. Steady aim cancelling by pressing back and S after a guard crush shot can be up to plus 19 with perfect timing, but maybe a frame or two less plus in practice. But without guard crush, it's only around plus 11, so it can be make or break when it comes to pressure or mix-ups. And mixing and not shooting at all will be a useful mind game, especially when you're lower on concentration. Curse is one of his most important tools. It lets him retreat a bit while throwing the curse ball, where on hit it leaves them in a state where aim tracking is much faster. Steady aim shots while cursed will never miss, so it's extremely important for controlling your opponent's movement and a staple for zoning. You can do this during steady aim by just pressing forward and P. It doesn't do any damage and doesn't interact with any other projectiles, it just needs to make contact. It goes away if you get hit, including getting bursted, or after 5 seconds pass. Their main counterplay is to jump over it. If you think they'll preemptively jump, then doing steady aim shot into curse into another shot is the best way to force it onto them while pushing them back. Some ways to apply curse are after wall splat or after a space 2k2d. Doing it at the end of block strings will at least space you out, but can hit them if you're already far. Doing steady aim shot into curse in the mid-range is good too. And the best way to keep zoning going is doing curse after they get hit by a steady aim shot. Focus is an important tool for managing concentration. It has 46 frames of total duration and has counter hit recovery, so you'll want to have some space before doing it. But once it's finished, you'll gain back 30% concentration and have all concentration costs cut in half for 5 seconds. This makes each shot take up 125 concentration instead of 250, which turns a maximum of 4 shots into easily shooting all 6 and having extra concentration left over. This also makes the concentration of steady aim and having the gun out with 5H go down by half, making zoning more efficient. You want to do this after a 2D knockdown or after a steady aim shot. You can even fit in a curse on top of it. It's also good to do when you wall splat. Setting up a guard crush shot into focus leaves you minus 10 at best, but generally around negative 11 or 12, so try your best to cancel this as soon as you can. Scapegoat is probably the most nerfed move he has, to the point where I don't really recommend using it outside of a few situations. It's a retreating move that puts up a wall at the cost of 15% of your current health, with a minimum of 29 HP taken away. Be careful about using this too much, both because of the health loss and the potential for cornering yourself. It lasts 3 seconds, but once you reach 1 HP, it'll spawn a smaller version of itself that only lasts 45 frames. It acting as a wall can be nice, but if they have a move that would reach through the wall and hit you, it will still hit you. This makes characters with long-range moves or lariats difficult to deal with. It can slow them down a little bit, giving you more time to react and recover or punish, but keep in mind some characters have ways of avoiding the wall entirely. It can be useful for creating space and stalling them, but its usefulness will depend heavily on the matchup. The counterplay used to be hit the clone and red RC, but now the distance it sends you is outside of the RC bubble, letting you avoid getting hit even if you go into steady aim. Roll is a multi-use special move starting with the low profile on frame 3. When you roll, the reticle will not be locked on anymore, but it does keep it close to relock quickly, though it won't always be locked on as soon as you can fire. The biggest use of this is for mix-ups, which we'll talk about later. When you're in steady aim, there are easy inputs for special cancels. 6k for Scapegoat, which you'll probably want to cancel into another move or just put the gun away. Do 6p for Curse, 4p for Focus, 4s to cancel steady aim, which is the fastest way to get out of it, 2p for Reload, and 4k for Roll. 236S is the only special move you can't do from steady aim since the gun is already out. Against some characters, you can roll under their supers when they try to catch you out of steady aim. Keep in mind this will only work if you are already done with the startup of steady aim, and some supers can't be rolled under. This is easier to do against regular projectiles like Kai's stun edge. 236S, also called Gun Flip, is a major combo and pressure tool. It pulls out the gun like 5H but has a hitbox. It'll be a common block string ender. Dash Care 236S is one of the strongest tools in the game in my opinion. It turns your neutral poke of 5k into a plus on block launcher for no resources that can easily be followed up into more plus frames. It's also the best way to start combos when whiff punishing. It lets 5k be used defensively, reactively, and offensively with consistently high reward with a buffered input so you don't need to hit confirm. Probably the hardest thing he has is looping Dash Care on block, which I'll talk more about later, but it's also one of the strongest pressure sequences in the game. And using it as a DP punish easily lets you get resources back during your combo. 5p will be your go-to anti-air since it's quick, reliable, and easily combos into 6s for good conversions. 5k is a solid 6-frame poke that low crushes. It's nothing crazy on its own, but pairing it with dash cancels and gunshots makes this very powerful. Get used to doing 5k, then pressing 5h and the dash macro at the same time to negative edge the shot. I find this the easiest way to get the timing down, but make sure to let go of H about halfway through the dash to start pressure or combos. If you whiff, you'll be vulnerable, so be ready to react and put the gun away. If you're holding H, you won't be able to put the gun away until you shoot first, so do your best to be quick on the reaction. And if you're lucky, the RNG might hit them anyways. When you practice this, set the bot to counterattack with a quick button and try to frame trap the shot. You can also just do 5k 2D then negative edge the 5h shot, try to release the shot so it frame traps too. If they got hit by the frame trap, confirm it into a knockdown and reload or focus. 2k is a very strong normal. It is a bit slower at 7 frames but has amazing low profile that starts shrinking at frame 3. It's one of the original DLC 2Ks, which has amazing range and low recovery, so it can be used multiple times to control space really well. It's even better when paired with gunshots, giving full combos on hit or plus frames on block. Use it both to defend space and steal some with dashing 2Ks. Same as 5k 2D, 2k 2D into delayed gunshot is very strong. You can even just do 2k right into shot and have more plus frames to work with, letting you fit in strike throw mix-ups. 2S is the main poke that you should be using a lot. It's a disjointed low that covers the mid-range very well and easily leads to knockdowns, at worst with a couple of shots. These shots easily lead into pressure too. You should almost always follow up with a shot when using it, especially since if it connects on hit or block, it will never miss. At worst, you whiff the 2S, but still have a random chance to hit them with the shot. Just try to put the gun away quickly if you whiff. Far Slash has been buffed enough to be used occasionally, but it gets overshadowed by 2S. It being 10 frames and disjointed is nice, but the potential to be low profiled can be a problem depending on the matchup. It does make a nice round start option, especially with the nice conversion on counter hit. 6S is the largest normal he has, and is much better when used with dash momentum. It has a slight disjoint above the move which can make it a preemptive anti-air, but never try to use it on reaction since it's too slow. It is fairly slow and can be stuffed out by lows, so keep that in mind. JP is your go-to air-to-air, and it can easily be confirmed into full combos with shots. Happy Chaos' air game is really strong. At a base level, Dash Jump JS is a solid approach option. But get used to mixing in jumping back, neutral double jumping, and air dashing back before getting into 6p range. Doing this with the gun out is strong since they'll be waiting to 6p by standing still, letting the reticle lock onto them even if you're moving around unpredictably. They may try to react with 6p, but doing any of the air options I mentioned and firing a shot instead of falling into their 6p will counter hit them and let you get a knockdown. They may end up just letting you jump in on them since they're scared of the shot. They can try to air you, but it has to be on a read. The amount of movement options you have, and at any timing you like, makes it unlikely they'll be able to catch you on reaction. Curse is very important and makes this easier, so watch out for big moves covering the ground. The thing is, dash jumping is also a good answer to moves that would catch you trying to zone. Since Happy Chaos has no reversals, you'll need to have good fundamental defense. His super jump air dash out of the corner is very good, but you'll want to FD them out before going for it. Fuzzy jumping into JS is also a nice option. And 2K 2D roll into shot is a nice easy way to steal the corner if you're brave enough to mash out. 5K success is the next step up as a cancel from 5K for neutral. It gives you better combos for corner carry and is a safer buffer since you don't pull the gun out. 2K's low profile can be used against characters with high hitting jump-ins, but make sure to practice this before bringing it to matches. And it can be used to go under certain follow-ups like Soul's Bandit Revolver. If used right, this can lead to some optimal punishes. I'll talk more about this in the combo section, but for 2S on counter hit, be ready to confirm into steady aim shot instead of simply 2 regular 5/8 shots. Converting with a reload is optimal, but to make it easier, you can 4S to cancel steady aim to run up. This works even against non-counter hit. You're free to mix up between using steady aim or not in neutral, but try to work in steady aim more if you can. Another option to approach is 2S shot into Wild Assault. This leads to easy plus frames and conversions, and can even lead to a 50-50 with a neutral jump cancel. If you jump forwards, you'll go too far. It's about time to introduce how zoning works. Your top priority is to get them cursed, and anytime you hit them with a steady aim shot, you cancel into curse, then focus to get them full screen while you're ready to zone again. If they're not cursed, you can force it by doing steady aim shot into curse with 6P, then do a follow-up 5/8 shot into focus. Since their best option against curse is to jump, they may be there more often to preemptively avoid it, but doing the sequence forces them to get hit by curse regardless. The main problem is that you're down 2 bullets and minus 27. If you know they're scared of the follow-up shot, you can sometimes get away without using the second bullet, but you'll be almost minus 50. Without curse, if you want to do a guard crush shot, there's a lot of startup making it impractical to loop. If you just want it to hit, it would take roughly 27 frames depending on the RNG. With curse, guard crush loops are still impractical because the gap between the shots is big enough to dash block in quickly. But the guard crush can be useful against people who like to jump. And the number one rule as someone fighting Happy Chaos is that you should never jump when cursed. If they jump, this is the best way for you to get a free guard crush shot, sending them back further while you reload, throw curse, and focus while being less negative than normal. Normally a guard crush shot into focus is about -10, but if they're in the air, this can be down to -3. And if you think they'll react to curse by air dashing or running up, dash 6S becomes a nice preemptive callout. But once you have them block curse and you're in the mid-range, cancel with 4S and dash 6S is a nice way to close the distance. If you're further away, steady aim shot into 4S, then steady aim shot again is the fastest way to keep the pressure up, but takes more bullets, so mix this in with reloading and dashing in. When they're scared to move, make sure to dash in with 5H and dash jump like I mentioned in the Essentials section. For a few more defensive tips, mashing with 2P is better, and 2P into gunshot to set up a roll still gives the cross throw. On top of FDing into jumping, challenge with 2S into shots, and work on IBFDing to open up new punishes. As I mentioned before in the 2-3 success section, 5K dash carry 2-3 success is a very powerful neutral option. It true strings by default, and you can turn the poke into a frame trap with a slight delay. Turn this into pressure by firing a shot once 2-3 success finishes and dash up. Make sure to mix up moving forwards and backwards to either catch them out of their dash blocks or force them to whiff and then punish. As long as they don't have their burst, every one of these that hits should lead to a wall break or a quick high-low throw option. But mixing this in with 2Ks is even more potent. 2S is also useful both as an approach option when paired with the dash, but is also great for defensive use trying to stuff approaches. Throwing out some preemptive 2Ks followed by a backdash into 2S can be a nice way to bait people in close. 2S into negative edge shot is great, and if they jumped or air dashed to try to punish, react with 5P 6S steady aim while holding H, then release it, giving an optimal use of resources. If you're super ready for it, you can even just convert the 5P directly into steady aim, but remember that you can just let the shot go and there's a chance it'll hit them. To expand on zoning, looping steady aim shot into 4S is the best way to catch them off guard. It's expensive, but compared to steady aim shot into reload, the gap is much smaller, leaving less room for error. Without focus, you will only get 3 shots out instead of 4 and be down 3 bullets instead of 0, but mix and match which pattern to use based on how your opponent reacts to them. If they know the matchup, they'll be dash blocking in after every shot, and the quick shots are most likely to catch them either being greedy with how far they get, or catch them as they mistime the gap. Doing guard crush shots leaves too much of a gap for me to recommend unless they commit to quick dash blocks. It's important to remember that since guard crush loops don't exist anymore, winning the round through chip damage is no longer a viable strategy. You'll almost entirely rely on quick shots, but these do practically 0 chip damage. The only way you can get away with this is if they don't try to take space during your zoning at all. If you want to stay committed to zoning and they get hit by a steady aim shot, follow it up with curse into focus and maybe a reload if you're a bit greedy. If they're near the mid-range, you can fast cancel and convert into a combo, but it'll depend on your resources whether it's possible or worth it. The major tipping point for whether zoning will be viable for you to continue is if they know how much space they can take during focus. The typical way I recommend you end your zoning string is steady aim shot into curse, then another shot into focus, which leaves you -27 with another 19 frames at best to get another fast steady aim shot out. This leaves a big gap for them to approach in and stuff your next zoning attempt. If they just dash block like normal, then great. But if they take a lot of space or just keep dash blocking into the mid-range, it's better to convert the zoning into pressure with a fast cancel or reload cancel into dash 2s or 6s. Dash blocking is their best way to end the zoning, but they may also be putting themselves in a situation where it's easy to convert the next shot into a pressure string. Remember, while zoning is still strong for controlling where they position themselves, make good use of dash jumping when they're cursed. One of the best ways to start your approach is guard crush shot into reload or fast cancel, then dash into 5H. If they got hit, you can easily react and continue the combo. If they block, it tends to track on them fairly quickly, especially if they're still cursed, but it won't always track so quickly, so make sure to watch the reticle. This becomes especially good after a guard crush shot into focus super. Something I haven't mentioned is that using retreating moves like Scapegoat, Curse, or even just Backdash impact your tension balance so you build less meter until you start moving forwards again. It's fine and even important to do these options, just be aware that it's good to steal some space to stop yourself from getting negative penalty and get out of the reduced meter build. I think an underused option in neutral is BRC, which is especially good for Happy Chaos. Since he builds so much meter, it's available more often and doesn't always need it for combos or mix-ups, but slowing down their options to half speed while giving easy bulletless conversions from quick pokes is really good. And if you do it from the air, blocking a falling JS sets up a fuzzy. The typical issue is that dash BRC puts you in throw range, which can be dangerous. However, J2K is a rising option that easily and heavily punishes this throw attempt, and if they block it, it leads to more mix-ups. For round starts, if you want to be aggressive, far slash is your best bet since it's 10 frames and reaches. If you think they'll be aggressive, slight walk back into 6S will catch most other round starts. Slight walk back into 2S also works well. Dash block delayed 2K is a fairly safe option but can easily make you lose neutral, but it will catch them trying to chase your retreating options. Round start curse is very good since it can immediately set up the first part of your game plan and lets you avoid a lot of round starts. But since it's counter hit recovery, it can easily lead to bad situations. So mix in dash block 2K to catch this. Backdash is a pretty safe option too, with lower risk than curse. Starting out with the standard, close slash is plus, letting you set up basic strike throw. The better way to set up strike throw is by doing 2K while negative edging a 5/8 shot. You can release it after the move connects to be easily over plus 20. Rinse and repeat, giving yourself access to low after low, and at any point you can dash up and throw. Depending on when you release the bullet or how long you dash before 2K'ing again can leave a gap or not. True stringing will catch throw, mashing, and jumping while stopping you from getting hit by DPs or supers, but frame traps will catch them mashing a quick crouching button, so find out what they like to do. And you can do dash up close slash 6K to the success after 2K into shot for more corner carry, risk build, and more options. If the gun was already out, when you do 6K and start to buffer the quarter circle, press H when you're pressing down at the start of the quarter circle to put the gun away. Adding slight delays to anything is an easy way to catch mashing while giving yourself tons of plus frames giving strike throw at any point. And if they get hit by any of the strikes, it easily sets up a knockdown where you can regen some resources to do it again. 2-3 success is the scariest frame trap, but you'll learn about these better combos in the intermediate section. On top of doing dash 2K into 2K, doing dash into IED back JS is a kind of fast overhead that also avoids throw mashing. And after 2K or close slash, you can throw in a tap dust, just make sure to delay the shots so they don't get sent into the air. 2K and 5K into 6K do not combo and have a 5 frame gap on block, so for now at least, don't use this in pressure, only do it after close slash. 2-3 success being +3 on block is great and builds a lot of risk, so they won't want to block this more than they need to. 2K, 2D, 2-3 success is another way to do pressure, but if they FD, the 2-3 success will almost certainly whiff. An easy way to fight FD is to do 6S, 2-3 success into a shot. Same as before, put the gun away during the down input of the quarter circle for 2-3 success. This is a basic starting point for staying in against FD, but if they get hit, it'll be hard or impossible to combo from. You can also do shot into 6K, which will frame trap as long as you do the shot late enough, so you may prefer this one. If they FD the close slash series, doing dash up 5K dash cancel shot is a good way to stay in and loop the situation. You can still just do 2K shot dash 2K, but it'll be harder to enforce the throw since you'll have to run longer. And same goes for 2K 2D shot, you'll have even less plus frames to work with. Dash 6K loops well on block against FD2, just be careful with the timing on the shot since it's easier to get thrown or mashed out of this. As you do practice this, you'll get a feel for which sequences make more sense based on the distance. The standard high-low mix-up is to just dash jump, shoot a couple shots, then do a delayed air dash back JS, or nothing into land 2K. If you don't have focus already, this can be pretty expensive, so make sure to have the resources to do it when you want to go for it. If you jump past them, do air backdash JD instead of JS. Here's a quick sequence of how the situation could be set up. When jump canceling on block, jump forward or backdash JS won't reach, especially if they FD. When going for tap dust, FD will tend to push you out of the range unless you do very close range 2K into it. And always shoot the gun even if you think there's a chance the dust will whiff, since it's likely tracked on them still. For steady aim guard crush shot, canceling into reload lets you get 2 bullets back and beat 5-frame mashes with good timing. And just reloading 1 bullet easily leaves you plus enough to catch any mashing. Super focus is a nice way to get all your focus back while staying plus in pressure. Canceling into it from close slash and 6K leaves you plus 2, and canceling it from 6S leaves you plus 5, so if you're gonna do it, it's much better to do it from 6S. If you have the bullet to spare, doing it from a guard crush shot that leaves you plus 24 and plus 18 from a regular steady aim shot. Close slash dash BRC, close slash, then reload lets you get back 3 bullets and frame trap with the 2P. Technically you could do close slash into focus, but it's just so much better to do super focus that you should never do this. On top of focusing on 2K shot into strike throw, make sure you really get down close slash 6K shot into dash close slash. Set them to mash to see if you can get it to true string and frame trap when you want. If they FD you out on that block string, you'll be out of even 2S range, so either spend a couple bullets or return to neutral depending on your resources. Canceling into reload on block is a greedy and unsafe way to get your resources back, but if you do it occasionally, it can be done, especially if they've shown respect. It's better when spaced out into 2-3-6S, into 2S than reload. Of course you can do it after steady aim shots like I mentioned, but you're spending 1 to get 1 or maybe 2 back. If you got a guard crush shot, it can be cancelled with 4S quickly and now make you up to plus 20 and set up an unmashable strike throw, but don't worry about it for now, just know that it's something you can do. Finally, the roll mix-up is one of his best mix-ups since it's so accessible. All you need to do is have the gun out, be close to them, and 214K while holding 5H, and release it once you're on the other side. There's a timing to it, especially if you want to make it unmashable, but hit the lab trying to get the timing for you to roll through and hit them, then combo with 2K 2D. You can push yourself to start to learn the timings to beat throw mash, but most people won't be mashing on it anyways. While 2K shot is a very powerful mix-up option even used by the best Happy Chaos players, many of them also do 2K 6S since it leads to a much better combo on hit and leads into close range pressure on block. Since 6S has a lot of recovery, even doing a delayed 5H shot will leave you not very plus. To make up for this, do the 5H shot into steady aim and do a guard crush shot. Start by learning how late you can do 6S into 5H while keeping it a true block string. The later you do the 5H, the smaller the gap, so it's important to learn this. I start holding H as soon as I input 6S and just focus on when to release it. Then start to add in the steady aim input, don't worry about the timing on the second shot yet, just get used to these inputs. And once you input steady aim, start to hold 5H again to get the next shot ready. If you haven't already practiced it, work on steady aim into guard crush shot immediately into reload by just doing 2P. Then put it all together and start to fine tune the timings on the 2 shots since they're the major make or break points in the string. From the start, 2K 6S has a gap that on trade can lead to a full combo with steady aim shots or regular 5H shots depending on what you like. If you're going for the guard crush shot, there will always be a gap between the 2 shots, but if you time it right, you'll either trade or beat their mash. This is the goal, but it's a very tight window since there's no buffer for leeway. It simply relies on you releasing at the right time with no good indicators. Don't get too caught up on trying to get this consistently, just work on getting close, especially since most people won't be mashing anyways. You just don't want to be leaving any bigger gaps than you need to. Since there will always be that gap, it's vulnerable to reversals, but you can roll through DPs or just not do the steady aim. That gap does also leave room for them to backdash, but depending on how you time the shots, it can easily blow them up for this, but it comes down to the timing for beating backdash loses to mashing and vice versa. You can do this block string for close slash 6S too, and restart the pressure with super focus into 5K 6S. Roll can be set up easily for moves like 2D, 6S, 6K, and even just looping roll into another one. The timing is quite hard, but you can beat throw mashes from 2D and 6S if you time the shot right, and this is something I think is worth practicing. FD can make it more difficult, like dash up close slash into roll works, but from a stationary close slash, it won't cross up. Spaced out 2Ks won't unless there's a lot of dash momentum, and 2K 6S being FD'd will practically never cross up. It is possible that 2K is so spaced out that a throw mash will whiff since you're not close enough. But doing 2K into shot then dash roll can cross up at the risk of a much larger gap, so make sure to mix in more frame traps. 2K and 5K into 6K has a 5-frame gap that can combo on trade if you're ready for it. Since it's a 5-frame gap, if you're closer it can be thrown, but it's not very likely that you'd even try. 2K and 5K counter hit into 6K does combo, so it can be used in stagger pressure, just keep the risks in mind. When they're cursed, steady aim shot into 4S, then dashing shots lets you approach into an immediate mix-up situation. It opens up tap dust, roll through cross-up, deep dash throw, and dash slow. If you're low on resources, you can just end with anything into curse to retreat and set up your advantage again. Everything before this is good to know and will help your offense a lot, but the crux of at least my offensive structure is the IED BRC mix-up. Do close slash IED BRC into JS, then a microdash. For an overhead, do a rising J2K, or in this case a rising J3K. For the low you have a few options, but I find 6K to be the most visually tricky as it's a slower standing low to pair with a dash jump. But 2D is more optimal both combo and pressure-wise, so choose what works best for you. The thing that makes this extra strong is that it gives you an overhead option that didn't use any air actions, letting you set up a second high-low mix-up if they block the first one. Just do air backdash JS for the overhead, or empty land 2K and cover yourself with 5/8 shots so they have to block it. It even works against FD, just really make sure you do the microdash or the rising overhead may whiff. It gives nice easy conversions on both hits while being an incredibly effective mix-up. Something just for fun is setting up the high-low and doing steady aim into roll just to throw them off. You can do it from the 6K too if you want it. It works a lot, but it really is just better to go for the high-low. If you end up having enough momentum to go past them, air backdash JD for the overhead. For 2D, continue pressures or combos with the guard crush shot. This will even let you pop them up high enough to run under and get a more optimal combo. A similar way to do this is to dash cancel close slash or 5K, then fast RC up into J3K. It's mostly the same, just do fast forward RC into 6K or 2D for the low. And since you get the momentum for the dash cancel, you don't need to think about microdashing against FD. And from the overhead, it's more likely to go past them after the J3K, so you can do an air dash back to add another layer. Even if they somehow block 2 layers, you can always throw in a roll for a cross-up or just continue normal pressure. These mix-ups work the same in the corner, just no chance for a cross-up. And like I said, this can be done from 5K even spaced out. Even YRC can be used to set up a mix-up. Just do 5K dash cancel shot into close slash, then jump into the standard high-low. Or go for a roll cross-up, tap dust or throw. And now that you should have down the close slash 6K 236S blockstring loop and the shot into guard crush shot blockstring, you can use either to loop plus frames to build enough meter for super focus to get even more plus frames. And remember, at any point you can force a strike throw or a high-low. For a tap dust, if you're running low on resources or want a more optimal combo, fast dash RC into 236S. This will give you a nice bulletless launcher while leaving you close and plus on block. We learned about 2S shot and wild assault leaving you plus, but doing it into reload is still plus double digits, doing 2 bullets still lets you frame trap, tap dust becomes an easy option, and neutral jumping gives the high-low mix-up easily. When it comes to burst baiting, there are a lot of guaranteed burst points, namely almost any time the gun is out. Specifically, 236S and steady aim are the main reaction burstable points. If they see the gun out at all, they may be tempted to burst, but you can put the gun away if you think they'll try. Since 236S is reaction burstable, you can do RC after it to bait burst, either red or purple RC. And like everyone else, 5K and close slash into jump block works nicely. Try to avoid mix-ups where you put yourself in the corner while they have burst, unless you plan on blocking immediately and giving up the chance of a combo. And if you mash out on their corner pressure while they have burst, immediately roll past them to get bursted mid-screen. If they burst a shot going into steady aim, then you'll get hit. But if they burst a steady aim shot, you'll be able to reload or curse and block. 5K dash carry 236S is very strong from neutral as a way to start pressure and combos like I mentioned before. It true strings and leaves you plus while advancing. If you have enough resources, it can easily lead to a standard high-low. It's a bit risky, but you can fit in a dash roll even if they FD. If you do it from a close slash, the +3 lets you do a 2K to catch jumping and mashing. The only weakness is it being vulnerable to YRC. A lot of his pressure is weak to YRC since having the gun out means you won't be able to block it, but 2P is the best YRC bait option. But you can loop close slash dash carry 236S shot into itself for one of the strongest pressure sequences in the game. You still have the option to leave gaps, but if you time it right, it can all be true string. FD can make it harder to be close enough to loop, but change up the shot timing to keep pressure going. It will always leave you close enough to threaten 2S into curse to reset neutral at your advantage. 5K roll won't always cross up, especially against FD, but you can do dash carry roll to make it so it will practically always cross up. Since guard crush removes cross-up protection, doing a guard crush shot into roll sets up a true string cross-up option. You can use the threat of the shot to skip it and just go for a roll, but it may not always lock on in time. If you end up using JD while saving your air action, you can double jump towards them and J2K to do a fuzzy. This is one of his more difficult mix-ups, and it gets easier the lower you connect the JD, but it is good to know. This can be done after either of his BRC mix-ups. From Tap Dust, fast up RC into JS while also fuzzy, giving you a double overhead starting from the ground. After a guard crush shot, roll into up PRC lets you do a falling J2K into a high-low left-right. By default, this will send you back the same side unless you do J3K. But this will also let you set up the fuzzy from before. To be a bit more technical, you can make it a fast RC, making it harder for them to react to the rising overhead. If they FD, even J3K will send you back to the same side, so be ready for that. Another way to go into the overhead is by cancelling into roll, then quickly PRCing up into J3K. If you just cancel from 6K with red RC, you won't have the momentum to reach them. Even though you're cancelling roll, the 6K block stun carries over enough to still frame trap, and it works against throw mashing, which they may not want to do after 6K expecting a regular roll. It's a bit difficult to get the timing right, but I think it's pretty strong. It can be used after approaching behind shots into 6S, even if they FD, since the momentum carries. You still do need to be kind of close though. For my testing, it is decently reactable, but pairing it with the PRC low, tap dust, throw, and roll leaves so much for them to worry about that it's hard for them to deal with. Even if they block it, you can still go for a second high low of air backdash JD or land 2K and set up the fuzzy if you feel like it. The problem is if they get hit by the 6S, then you won't be able to combo from it. The last mix-up is backdash into forward BRC JP. This is good because the gun leaves you plus in a neutral state to be able to set this up from lots of different situations. I found it easiest to do the dash macro, then backdash with 2 back inputs, then dash macro into the RC button. This is another tricky to time mix-up, but it's pretty strong and can even be used on Oki while safe jumping if you time it well. For combos, since managing resources will be the priority, make sure to confirm 2K 2D into focus or reload depending on what you need more. Generally, focus will be more important unless you're down to 2 or 3 bullets. Like I talked about in the pressure section, make sure to get the timing down on 2K into shot. After pressing 2K, hold down H and release it as close to the end of hit stun as you can. 2K shot into 2K may whiff because of the pushback, so make sure to fit in a dash 2K instead. /6K shot is the other main combo for now. Here I'm releasing the shot too early, so I don't have enough time to dash up and close slash again. It will just take practice to get the timing down, but you have more time than you think. Either end the combo by wall splatting or using 2D. From Tap Dust, make sure to delay the shot until they fall back to the ground so you can combo into 2K 2D. If you don't delay it, they'll just fly away. Also from the pressure section, 5K then dash plus 5H will be a good starting point for converting your quick poke. Just make sure to release 5H midway through the dash. You can combine this with 2K 2D shot to give an air combo and end with close slash 6S into getting some resources back. If you're near the wall, it's better to end with a steady aim shot. Another important starter is 2S into 2 shots while you dash up for 2K 2D. It's very easy to accidentally start shooting too early and drop the combo, so make sure to get this down. For JS, just make sure to do a shot after it hit to make sure you have more than enough time to easily combo or start pressure. If you have no bullets, 2K 2D 236S into 6S lets you get resources back. A little more advanced is to microdash close slash 6K 236S into 5K 6S. Make sure to put the gun away during the 236S input. On defense, when using 2P, convert with a shot into knockdown, then simply roll past them. Reloading once still leaves you plus enough to start pressure. If you wall splat with a shot, it gives enough time to do both focus and super. If you already have lots of resources, then you can just do curse instead. A major piece of his combo theory is looping steady aim shots. After a steady aim shot, do reload and immediately start another shot trying to time the shot for the guard crush timing. You don't need to, but it does more damage and gives a better pop-up for the other shots. This is the main way you can combo hits that are far away enough that you aren't confident you can reach them in time. Use this as you get used to the other combos, and for combos from 6S and 6P. And of course it's great for setting them full screen and restarting the zoning game. To practice this, do a guard crush shot immediately into reload, then go into another steady aim, negative edging 5H to prepare the next shot. Then wait until they recover and the next guard crush shot is ready. Do this to get used to the sequence of inputs, then slowly speed it up until you find the timing to do the shots back to back. If the first shot was a quick shot with curse, you'll have to do multiple quick shots, so it's really worth learning. This is an extension of the essential section, but after 236S, doing 5K dash cancel shot into close slash is a major piece of his combo theory too. After close slash 6K, tying in putting the gun away into 236S is going to be useful for more advanced combos, so get used to it now if you can. To practice it, try to do this combo fitting in 3 gun flips. The next major piece is after 2-3 success, doing 6K into a guard crush shot. This easily gives you enough time to dash in and follow up. Just know you have more time for the guard crush shot than you may think. And you can combine this with the steady aim loops. It's up to you what you prefer. A less used but still good sequence to know is 2-3 success loops using 6K to bridge the gap. Tying this in with the other combo theory parts can lead to great corner carry using less resources. Once you get comfortable with these, you can try to push a little further by fitting in dash up buttons after steady aim shots. Doing dash success into another shot is the most basic extension. Canceling the shot into roll gives a much easier conversion at the cost of being a bullet negative. And now you get a much better conversion even off of a 2K shot starter. Same goes for 2S, though the timing on this is tighter since there's less hit stun when they're grounded. Once you get these major combo theory pieces down, you really can just mix and match as you like. Here's 2 different conversions off of a tap dust starter with what we learned so far. From rolls, since it's more likely you'll be further from the corner, it's generally better to do the 5K dash cancel for better corner carry. When mashing out of the corner, you can combo a shot after you roll and continue close slash 6K until you wall slump them. Or 2K 2D 2-3 success can pop them up to roll and shoot them towards the corner. While it's situational, his optimal combo is close slash into J3K 3 times, then 5K 6S into steady aim shot. This will be your go-to DP and super punish. 2-3 success is your other best starter since it leaves you enough gravity to fit in a focus mid-combo. 5P success is also a great starter, giving you plenty of time to convert with roll for an easy close slash 6K, or fit in a reload for just dash up 6K. If you don't want to commit to the 6S, you can dash 5K after the 5P and piece the rest of the combo how you like. When air-to-airing with JP, doing 3 of them is pretty stable and confirm with the shot into 6S. For quick steady aim shots when they're cursed, leave the stance with 4S and dash up 6K to start the conversion. This can work from pretty far away, and if you use a guard crush shot, it's easily confirmable. With a fast shot, while running, do a second shot to either lead to a combo or put the gun away and start some pressure. From the IED BRC mix-up, for 2D, go right into a guard crush shot and do close slash 6K into another guard crush shot. If you do 6K instead, go right into 2-3 success. From the overhead, you can go into J3K 3 times, like the optimal close slash starter, but if the wall is already damaged, like from a wall slump, you'll only get 3 hits in. Doing steady aim shot loops can wall splat from far away and break the wall with another, but you can cancel the stance directly into super. And when they splat from a bullet, to build a little extra meter, you can double reload and still super, but generally focus or curse is the better option. Keep in mind that you cannot do super if the concentration gauge is red. For counter hits, from 2P if you're close enough you can combo into close slash, though you should just try to convert into a shot. Unfortunately, 2K doesn't combo into itself on counter hit, so make sure to convert with a shot. Counter hit 5P can lead to dash up close slash, but it's generally better to stick with 5P success. And with higher level hits like from far slash 2S and 6S, doing the double shot combo gets optimized to only using the guard crush shot since the counter hit slowdown eats the input for the release of the 5-8 shot. This lets you have an automatic optimal starter for counter hits by just doing the normal combo. This is why it's extra important to learn to do 2S shot into steady aim as the main conversion. And you can always do wild assault after 2S into shot with the bonus of the routing from earlier. A unique feature of far slash is that it has a tumble effect that lets you still shoot them even when they hit the ground, letting you wall break from further than you may expect. When doing BRC in neutral, 2P into guard crush shot is a nice way to turn a quick button into a great combo starter, giving resources back. And on block, it leaves you up to plus 20 while true stringing. Most of the combos in this section will be showing how to piece together the combo theory from the intermediate section to make practically every hit lead to a corner-to-corner combo. Starting with 2K2D, this is a very important combo to learn, and something to get used to is when you know the wall will break after launching them with 6S, shoot a bullet as soon as they get hit so you have a longer wall splat time for focus. 2-3 success being the best starter in terms of gravity makes it really easy to get the corner to corner. If you're committed to a mash with 2P, you might want to go right into 2-3 success to give yourself the easiest time to get to the other corner. If you try to convert into a shot and sweep, the gravity will kick in fast, and if you want it to end with super, it'll be more difficult. You have to do either a steady aim shot or a very quick 5-8 shot to get the super to connect. For another side switch, do close slash dash caret toothy success into shot, then a dashing success. It even lets you get a focus. 5K and close slash dash caret toothy success are great starters, leaving you lots of gravity to work with. It's best to try to do close slash dash caret toothy success after a roll mix-up to make up for the gravity scaling of starting with a shot, but it will take a good amount of practice. From a triple JP, you can get a corner to corner, but there isn't much room for variations, so stick to this route. When starting from jump-ins, it's best to route into dash caret toothy success if you want a wall break. For the IED BRC mix-up, 2D into guard crush shot lets you dash under and get a near corner to corner depending on where you did the mix-up. From the overhead using J3K, you can switch sides and convert with JD and easily make it to the other corner. Scaling does kick in quickly for these long combos, but you will build a good amount of meter back. When pressuring them in the corner, back throw into fast PRC steady aim to save some meter while OTGing with a guard crush shot into corner to corner. For DP punishes, toothy success counter gives a huge pop-up, easily giving focus after a guard crush shot. For more damage, use the close slash into J3K loop from the intermediate section. And if you're close to the corner, you can do the cross-up route, confirming with JD to give yourself more space to combo before the wall break. Counter hit close slash into dash caret toothy success gives you more than enough time to dash under too. Counter hit far slash can do this too from further than you may expect. When going for a mix-up with J2K, it's generally best to use a bullet to confirm. When going for wall break, the difference between 6S and a guard crush shot is 2 damage, so only use the guard crush shot when you can't super and you're likely to kill with the wall break. Charge dust does do that 1 damage difference, so if you can do it, go for it, but when getting resources back you likely won't have time. For short combos like roll shot into 6S, there's enough gravity to let super combo from it. You can do this to wall break faster if you're scared they may try to burst, or if you're low on resources. The damage isn't too different, but you'll miss out on meter and concentration. A strong way to wall break is by doing 6S into curse, then a delayed shot to splat, giving time to focus and super too. This takes awareness of how close the wall is to breaking, which comes with time. But when in doubt, any shot that splats should go into focus, then super when possible. Combos like this give you all your resources back, and it is actually better to hit the super further from the wall since it gives the opponent less meter, though it's not a big difference. Wrapping combos up, doing combos into 2-3 success, let you build resources in the corner and continue them, either reloading a bullet for when you don't have any, or fitting in a focus so you can get cursed too. 2D knockdowns give you almost a full second to work with. It's so plus that you can do focus, dash up, and still be too early on the close slash. You can reload up to 4 bullets and still get a meaty close slash too. If you do 2K shot into the knockdown, you'll have less plus frames, but you can still easily get some resources in meaty. If you fit in 2K shot twice, you'll have a few less frames to work with, but the knockdown time doesn't change if you add any more hits. For throw, you can't get any resources and also get a meaty, but you can do OTG 2S and do curse to reset neutral. For a safe jump, slight walk back into IED J2K is good. Another way to do it is dash jump with JK into falling JS. In the corner, you can just jump forward without the dash and still safe jump. From 2K 2D, canceling into curse then shot into focus lets you reset neutral at your advantage while being slightly negative or even plus depending on the delay for the shot. When you're close enough, reloading 1 bullet into dash close slash dash cancel auto times another meaty close slash. Or you can just OTG 2S into curse. When spaced a bit, 2D into curse lets you run up and threaten an immediate left-right mix-up with roll due to the better tracking. Also, canceling the first reloaded bullet with a dash jump with JK into JS gives a safe jump. Make sure to adjust it to JD if you cross up. If you're going past them, you can do air dash back J2K for the same side option. From corner throw, OTG close slash jump forward into the standard high-low. Doing a 2-3 success loop sets up a safe jump without any bullets used. After wall break, IED FD doesn't safe jump 9 frame reversals, but it will safe jump 10 frame reversals. If you're scared of the reversals, doing microdash steady aim will keep you outside of the range of most of them or let you shoot them after the invul wears off. If you did focus before this, then it'll give you the chance to get pressure going fairly safely. If they don't have a reversal, IED J2K into double JP versus Empty Land 2K is a decent mix-up option, though I prefer just doing the JS. For throw, another safe jump option is dash IED JS. If you IED into nothing and shoot a bullet right about when you land and they blocked standing, then it opens up a rising J2K fuzzy. This is pretty difficult to get consistently, especially if you're trying to get it when they're likely to still be blocking high from the IED. I'll just say the shot needs to be later than you think. And there's no guarantee the reticle will have locked on in time, so it's better when they're cursed. If you did the shot too early, then they'll be able to duck under it. Another Oki option in the corner is close/dash carrier reload. This lets you set up an extra close/meaty that leaves you +3. From the throw Oki, micro walk back IED J2K does same side, but you can also get a cross up with JD. When getting close to the corner and you don't want a wall break, 5k dash carrier focus can easily leave you plus enough to get Oki, but it's a bit spacing specific. When you're extra low on resources, you can red RC and focus then reload and still be more than plus enough to keep going. This will be useful for when you run through a lot of resources and can't convert the next hit without running out of concentration. Some more safe jumps, ending with a guard crush shot into 4S lets you run up and jump past them for a meaty jump in. Doing 2 steady aim shots will pop them up enough that you'll stay same side. These can safe jump, but since they're manually timed, it'll take some practice. If they don't have a reversal, then you don't need to worry about putting the gun away, but it'll let you regen a low concentration, so it's generally a good habit. From good starters like 5k dash carrier 236S, you can end with a guard crush shot into focus and get a safe jump. Here's a safe jump from a 2k 2D starter ending with 236S. For these safe jumps that cross up, including 2D reload, they let you do the fuzzy from earlier. Like before, when they're cursed, roll becomes a threat even on Oki, but something to really throw them off is 2k 2D roll OTG shot into dash roll for another cross up. For wall slumping, if you splat with a normal, focus backdash ID JS safe jumps. Another option is to focus then reload into a dash close/meaty. Even reloading 3 bullets will leave you 2+, so depending on the bullets, adjust your delay on the close/. If you splat with a shot, focus reload 1 bullet into jump forward falling JS safe jumps. With JK can help with the timing. Same as normal splatting, focus reload into dash close/meaty. After doing a mix-up you may be spaced out a bit, so make sure to not be too greedy on the reloads. And after wall slumping you can easily set up the standard high-low again where if they get hit by anything it leads to another slump. When doing tap dust, make sure to delay so they don't get splatted in the air, avoiding the slump. For super wall breaks, IED FD JS into close/dash carrier 236S pressure is my go-to practically every wall break I get. This lets you easily and quickly build enough meter to run the BRC mix-up that not only can lead to a second mix-up, but on hit leads to the same situation. You can keep the pressure going a little longer to build more meter, but remember that meter penalty duration drops by 90% during positive bonus, so try to do the BRC before it ends. And that wraps up everything I wanted to talk about. Like I said before, to be a good Happy Chaos player, you don't need to know anywhere near everything in these videos, and his potential goes even further than everything I put in here. But hopefully you were able to find parts that were useful for you and helped you improve. Thank you for watching.